My name is Emma. I married for money, not for love. I thought money could solve all my problems. I thought a rich husband would make me happy. I was wrong. When I was 22 years old, my family was very poor. We lived in a small town far from the city. My father was sick. My mother worked long hours in a small grocery store. Every month, we worried about bills. Every month, we worried about food. Sometimes, we did not have enough money for medicine. I hated seeing my parents suffer. I hated feeling helpless. I wanted a better life. I wanted security. I wanted comfort. Most of all, I wanted money. One day, my best friend called me. "Emma, there is a business event in the city tonight. You should come with me." I laughed. I do not belong at a place like that. But my friend refused to give up. "Just trust me." That evening, I borrowed a dress for my friend. It wasn't expensive, but it was the nicest dress I owned. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was nervous. Very nervous. What am I doing here? The event was held in a luxury hotel. The building was beautiful. The lights were bright. The people were rich. I felt completely out of place. Then I saw him. His name was Daniel. He looked confident. He looked successful. Everyone seemed to know him. People smiled when they spoke to him. People respected him. A few minutes later, he walked toward me. My heart started beating faster. "Hello, my name is Daniel. My name is Emma." To my surprise, talking to him felt easy. He was kind. He listened carefully. He made me laugh. Before leaving, he asked for my phone number. I couldn't believe it. A man like Daniel was interested in me. Over the next few months, we spent more time together. He took me to beautiful restaurants. He bought me gifts. He showed me a world I had never seen before. For the first time in my life, I felt special. One evening, he invited me to his house. When I arrived, I couldn't believe my eyes. The house was enormous. There was a beautiful garden, a swimming pool, luxury cars. Everything looked perfect. I stood there in complete shock. Daniel laughed softly. "Do you like it? It is beautiful." That night, I imagined a different future. A future without financial problems. A future without fear. A future without struggle. Maybe this was the life I had always wanted. A year later, Daniel proposed to me. The sun was setting. The garden looked magical. He got down on one knee. Then he opened a small box. Inside was a diamond ring. "Emma, will you marry me?" My heart raced. I looked at Daniel. I looked at the ring. I looked at the beautiful house behind him. And then I said yes. My parents were thrilled. My friends were jealous. Everyone said I was lucky. Maybe they were right. 3 months later, we got married. The wedding was beautiful. The flowers were beautiful. The food was amazing. The photos looked perfect. Everything seemed perfect. After the wedding, I moved into Daniel's house. I thought my problems were over. I thought my life would finally be happy. I thought money would solve everything. But I was about to learn a very painful lesson. Money can buy comfort. Money can buy luxury. But money cannot buy love. And very soon, I would discover the truth. A few weeks passed after the wedding. At first, I told myself everything was fine. I was living in a beautiful house. I had expensive clothes. I had everything I once dreamed about. But something was missing. Every morning, Daniel left for work before I woke up. Every night, he came home very late. Sometimes we barely spoke. Sometimes we ate dinner in silence. The house felt bigger every day, and I felt smaller every day. One evening, I decided to surprise Daniel. I spent hours preparing his favorite meal. I decorated the dining table with candles. Everything looked perfect. Then my phone rang. It was Daniel. "Emma, I'm sorry. I have an important meeting tonight. I won't be coming home for dinner." I looked at the empty chair across from me. The candles were still burning. The food was getting cold. And once again, I was alone. That night, I could not sleep. I kept asking myself the same question. Was this really the life I wanted? A few days later, I was walking through the house. There were many rooms I had never entered before. One door at the end of a hallway caught my attention. Slowly, I opened it. Inside, I found hundreds of photographs. Most of them showed Daniel, but he was not alone. There was a woman beside him in every picture. She was beautiful. She had a bright smile, and Daniel looked happier than I had ever seen him. Who was she? Why had Daniel never mentioned her? That evening, I waited for Daniel to come home. When he finally arrived, I showed him one of the photographs. "Daniel, who is this woman?" The color disappeared from his face. He sat down without saying a word. Her name was Sophia. She was my wife. My heart stopped. Wife? I didn't understand. Daniel looked at the photograph for a long time. Then he finally spoke again. "She died 3 years ago." Suddenly, everything made sense. The loneliness in his eyes, the sadness in his voice, the distance between us. For the first time, I stopped seeing Daniel as a rich man. I saw him as a lonely human being, a man carrying a broken heart. And for the first time since our wedding, I started to care about him. But I had no idea that an even bigger secret was waiting for me. For the first time since our wedding, I saw Daniel differently. I no longer saw a millionaire. I saw a lonely man trying to survive his pain. After our conversation, things began to change. Slowly, Daniel started spending more time at home. We ate dinner together more often. We talked about our lives. We started becoming friends. One evening, we were sitting in the garden. The sun was setting behind the trees. Daniel looked at me and smiled. "Emma, can I ask you something?" I nodded. "Why did you marry me?" My heart began to race. I knew the truth, and for the first time, I felt ashamed of it. "Do you really want to know?" Daniel nodded. "I married you because you were rich." The words felt heavy as they left my mouth. I thought money would solve my problems. I thought money would make me happy. I was wrong. I waited for Daniel to get angry. I expected him to stand up and leave, but he did neither. Daniel looked toward the garden. Then he smiled sadly. "Emma, I have a confession too." I looked at him. I did not marry you for love either. I could not believe what I was hearing. Daniel looked down at his hands. After Sophia died, I was alone for years. The house felt empty. My life felt empty. When I met you, I wasn't looking for love. I was looking for company. I was looking for someone to share my life with. Suddenly, I understood everything. We had both entered this marriage for the wrong reasons. We were both lonely. And somehow, that truth brought us closer together. Over the next few months, our relationship changed completely. We spent more time together. We laughed together. We shared our fears and dreams. One day, I realized something surprising. I was falling in love with Daniel, not because of his money, not because of his house, but because of the man he truly was. A year later, we returned to the same garden where he had proposed. The sunset looked just as beautiful as before. Daniel took my hand. I smiled at him. Daniel, this time, I love you for the right reason. Daniel smiled, and for the first time in our marriage, we were truly happy. I married for money. It was the biggest mistake of my life. But admitting that mistake led me to something much more valuable: real love.